Jesse, why aren't we firing the intro?
Because you got to do Manscaped.
What? Since when?
I'm just
Every episode.
We do it here?
the one part of you that you should never escape is that beautiful bouncing Clark Kent curl you have.
Thank you. I don't know what I look like right now. It's a
no,
mess.
why are you putting it up?
No, it looks bad.
I love watching it dangle all show.
Oh, okay, well, it's not
It's like
going
a Christmas ornament.
But listen, if you got things dangling where you don't need them to be, Manscaped.
Oh.
Go to manscaped.com/dangle. Receive 20% off your next purchase and free shipping. Now can we play the intro?
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Powered by Sports Interaction. Canada's Sportsbook.
SDP. The Steve Dangle Podcast. With your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
All right, so we had an outline for the show. The Hockey Diversity Alliance has put out a statement on behalf of Isaiah Meyer-Crothers. So what we're going to do is we're going to completely upend what we were going to do. We're going to talk to Dave at Sports Interaction, and then we're going to break that down. And obviously, we've also got some Leafs, some Devils, some Flames, some Oilers.
Devils?
Because they're a wagon, Jesse. 7
He has
straight
always
wins.
said this.
I have been on the Devils bandwagon since the beginning. Devils fans, you know. Do you know that I have a huge following in New Jersey? I bet you didn't. Anyway,
And they all love him.
Let's not
unanimously.
Yeah, especially Devils fans' Twitter accounts. They think I'm great.
Arizona, Long Island, all the places.
Actually,
where
Islanders
Adam has
fans
been.
are great now.
Oh, I know.
They were mad at us for a bit, but they were awesome.
They were that friend you fight with long enough that you like each other.
Yeah, you're like, God, I kind of respect you a little. Damn it. Anyway, listen, Devils, we're talking about you coming up. First, though, let's get into it.
Sports Interaction, Canada's Sportsbook, presents You Can Bet That with David Bastel. Must be 19 plus. Please play responsibly. Ontario only.
What game will John Tavares? When will he score his 400th goal? He's coming up on it. Now, Dave, there are some interesting picks here. And if he goes on a cold streak, you could win big.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So we have at Sports Interaction in our props section, basically every single Leaf game for the month of November, because it's got to happen in November, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
So the next one's on Remembrance Day against the Penguins. Then we have one on the 12th against the Canucks, 15th against the Penguins. Those three are the best. So as far as lowest odds are concerned. So odds makers are thinking it's within that range. I'm kind of looking at that Canucks one right now personally, because the Canucks let everything in but the kitchen sink. So I don't know about you guys, but he can't go on a cold spell, can he?
Penguins too, though, and also no, because he's perfect. But yeah, the Penguins are
Which Penguin game, Steve? The first Penguins game on the 11th or the 15th? Because they played close together.
And he just needs one, right?
Yeah.
He's one goal away.
I go for the show. The Leafs started to change the narrative, and this is where they put a stamp on it. Hockey night in Canada against the Canucks.
Wow. Okay. I mean,
cool.
It might be fun if it happens November 21st versus the Islanders, wouldn't it?
But then it's like
Then we gotta wait.
He hasn't scored in 5 games.
Yeah.
What's the narrative?
Yeah.
No, but you
But
know
then
what?
he
scores
changes
against
it
the-
again.
He scores against the Islanders. Too bad that wasn't on Long Island. Then he could do the PK Subban crossbow across center ice. Right?
Yeah, because that's John Tavares' style for sure.
In a nutshell.
I think he might high five his teammates.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Partial smile.
Yeah. He'd literally be like, this it's just another goal.
We did well.
Anyway, Dave, thank you so much. Go to sportsinteraction.com/STPN, and we will see you tomorrow, sir.
Sounds good, guys.
Jesse,
Yes.
Steve's in a hurry.
Why?
I don't know. He seems to be like, hey, guys, I need to get in my car and drive home. Steve, what are you doing when you get home?
It's just as little as possible.
That's right. He's using his Performance Package 4.0 to remove all the excess hair.
How dare you?
Is it? How dare I?
You, how dare you not read the opening line that Manscaped gave you?
Oh, what did they say? I was going to save it for
read
next
it.
week.
Read it.
This holiday season, I'll be giving thanks to our friends at Manscaped. Everyone loves turkey and stuffing, but you'll be looking like dessert with the help of Manscaped's Performance Package 4.0.
That is better than whatever nonsense you wanted to say.
All right, fine.
It was pretty good.
Trim.
That was quite nice.
Trim your stockings by going to manscaped.com and using the promo code
Stocking?
Dangle
No, you lost me. No.
for free shipping and 20% off. By the way, I made that one up myself.
Oh, no way.
I did.
Yeah,
That's why it was. That's why it's tough.
Comeback king over here.
That was
All right.
crap.
So, Steve, you get in the car and you go home, sir, after this show's over, and you trim it.
You get to writing better
Trim
ones.
it.
Trim your stock.
Manscaped.com. Use that code Dangle for 20% off and free shipping. You heard me. Trim it. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Listen, we've all talked about our mental health struggles on the show, and, you know, they can come in waves. They can be ever present. Everybody's situation is unique to themselves. I'm glad we're talking about it here, and I'm glad that athletes are talking about it. It's more kind of come into play in sports. And if you're feeling like, you know what, I just need somebody to talk to. It doesn't really have to be any one reason, although people always seem to wait for like one big thing to happen. Okay, now I'm going to therapy. You don't need to do that.
No.
If you're feeling tired, if you're feeling unfulfilled, if you're feeling directionless, or if you're just feeling like, you know what, it might be good to have a third party, BetterHelp is kind of the place to go. They're the world's largest therapy service. BetterHelp has matched 3 million people with professionally licensed and vetted therapists, available 100% online, and it's affordable. That's the key. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to match with a therapist, and if things aren't clicking, you can switch to a new therapist anytime. It couldn't be simpler. And I can tell you from having to find a therapist that you click with, that is really important. It's almost like a first date. You got to have some chemistry. You know what I mean? No waiting rooms, no traffic, no endless searching for the right therapist. Learn more and save 10% off your first month. Go to betterhelp.com/SDP. That is betterhelp.com/SDP. Want to bet? You can do it at Sports Interaction. It's Canada's sportsbook. It's football season. World Series just wrapped up.
My favorite.
Yeah, Steve, who knows so much about football. World Series did just wrap up, but we do have a lot of puck and a lot of NBA. You can bet pregame. You can bet live and play or on one of the many prop bets made for Canadians by Canadians. Sports Interaction makes it easy to deposit, play, and cash out. So join now to see all that betting has to offer. Head to sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. That's
Sportsinteraction.com/SDPN.
You were faster.
Thank you for doing that, because he would have messed it up.
I wouldn't have. I know the read. You know what you forgot? Ontario only, 19 plus. Please play responsibly. You guys both made fun of me.
All right, so since Monday's show, we did the full timeline breakdown for you.
The Chris Johnston show is fantastic as well.
Well, I like our show too.
No,
I'm kidding. No, no, they did a great job. I think this has been a really. It gets worse and worse and worse every day. And I thought stupidly that Monday, I'm like, okay, well, we've sort of hit the apex of the story here. We have not hit the apex of the story, and things just kept going. So obviously, if you want a breakdown of that stuff that happened this weekend for context, I completely understand that. We got it. CJ's got it. They did a great job. Check out the CJ show. But we do know that a podcast with Mitchell Miller's agent came out, and he was given an hour to discuss and talk. And a few things were said throughout that episode that I suppose, if you're Eustace King, you're paid to be Mitchell Miller's agent. And you are basically, you're there to advocate for the person. And, lawyers have to defend murderers all the time. And I think that
to give an extreme example.
That's an extreme example, but you know what I'm saying, right?
Like, I listened to the full hour, and I looked at it as a very biased framing of events.
Right.
Yeah.
As you would expect.
A lot of pushback or
no from the people who were hosting the show.
Yeah.
No, it was he received a platform to speak what he thinks is the side of the story, Mitchell Miller's side of the story.
So there was, there are some interesting moments that are quite uncomfortable in it, as you would expect, and I think there's Jesse and I were talking about it before the show. There's a moment where whereas Eustace King basically says, "Hey, these guys were friends. They were going to meet up in Detroit, and they've been talking for a while." And this, it goes into the whole background about how this all came about from their perspective. But I think what's important today that we need to focus on is what the Hockey Diversity Alliance just posted on behalf of Isaiah Meyer-Crothers in his own words.
Yeah, I haven't read any of this.
Can we get after we do this? Can we get back to what Eustace King and how that compares?
Yes,
to what's
and
in this?
I think it's more important to listen to this first and then break down some pieces of that interview. Again, I don't want to shine too much of a spotlight on it because I don't know how I feel about that. I do know how I feel about that, and I feel extraordinarily uncomfortable.
I'll be honest with how I feel. The second I saw that podcast was released, I thought I'd rather be thrown out of a plane.
So yeah, and that I'm trying to be measured.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was yeah. Anyway, let's get to this is what matters here. This is why I want to start here. Steve has not heard this. He was driving here when this was released.
Yeah.
What you're about to hear, by the way, is extremely difficult. I don't know what kind of trigger warning I could put on this, but I want to warn you, and you can be forgiven if you want to skip this, because it's very, very tough. This says the statement below is in Isaiah's own words. Some passages have been lightly edited for brevity and clarity, and they actually make notes where they've done that. I am Isaiah Meyer-Crothers. I would like to make a statement. I have been bullied since I was in the first grade. There were not many black kids at my school. I was called Brownie and the N-word. Kids said my black mom and dad didn't love me, and that's why I had white parents. Mitchell used to ask me to sit with him on the bus, and then he and his friends would punch me in the head. This happened my whole time in school. When I went to junior high, Mitchell would spit in my face and call me the N-word. I stopped telling because they would call me a snitch and I would get made fun of, as in telling the teachers, telling authorities. I had to say that I was his N-word to sit at his table, and he made me clean the whole table. He threw food in my face. I was called the N-word every day. The office would tell me to stay away from him because he wasn't my friend. Once he got expelled from school, his friends started bullying me. He pretended to be my friend and made me do things I didn't want to do. In junior high, I got beat up by him. Everyone thought he was so cool, but I don't see how someone can be cool when you pick on someone and bully someone your entire life. In the middle of October, I was texted constantly every day until I answered a Snapchat and IG message from Mitchell Miller. He asked me why I always have my parents doing stuff for me and why I can't speak for myself. I told him I don't care what my parents say. I'm old enough to speak for myself. He told me he was sorry and this is one of the corrected for brevity, and that the apology didn't involve hockey. He told me he was doing stuff in the community and helping the youth and wanted to be my friend. I told him that's all cool, but where is the proof though? He didn't give me any proof. All the lies I've been told from him for so many years, I don't believe what Mitchell told me. He kept asking me to be his friend and that he has changed over the years from what he did. I told him, I'm not just going to be your friend after all you did to me. I am not getting messages on social media. I am now getting messages on social media from people calling me a slow R-word ass clown and you stupid N-word, saying that I need help. Mitchell isn't my friend. It hurts my heart what he did to me. So I wanted to tell everyone, when Mitchell says we're friends, it isn't true. I can't take more of this. And that's where the letter ends. And I think it's important that you understand that late in the interview with Eustace King, he makes a comment, and I'm going to paraphrase, on that podcast. He makes a comment about Mailloux being in Isaiah Meyer-Crothers' ear.
I had heard that.
There's a comment about that. And obviously, the HDA does have a relationship, and Akeem did reach out. But when you say it in a term like that, also in the podcast, and again, these are not our words, and this is not associated with our network. Eustace King says, I believe there is some sort of developmental disability, but we don't know what it is. When we're speaking, when speaking to about Isaiah Meyer-Crothers.
I'm sorry to smile, but like, do any work, bro. Do any.
Well, I
Steve,
think
your initial like reaction to Eustace King doing an interview and that coming out, your reaction is, I don't want to listen to that. It's the correct reaction. And I don't think anybody should seek out the show and go listen to it, because to further Adam's point, there's things in here that go directly against the narrative that Eustace King was trying to put out there in the show. So they talk about how Isaiah talks about how they're not friends. He received a bunch of messages in the interview. Eustace King says that Mitchell Miller's been working hard to connect with Isaiah. They've been talking since the summer. They've had plans to meet up in Detroit, where Isaiah currently lives. And he's framing these messages as these are two friends talking, instead of what Isaiah points at as the reality of the messages as he's just been hounding me to try and get an apology so he can sign a contract.
Someone's being very obviously intentionally untruthful.
And the question you have to ask yourself, and Jesse, I'll let you continue just a second, is who has more to gain here and who has more to lose here by telling the truth?
I don't think
by not telling the truth
got anything to gain. I think he just wants to be left alone.
This
and anonymous.
This is what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
So it's like when you're looking at what side to believe here, it's sort of like, who's got something to gain out of this? So, all right, go ahead, Jesse.
And this is the last thing, and then I'm going to leave this interview for the rest of my life and never think about it again. But like Eustace King as a black man in that interview, he framed Mitchell Miller's use of the N-word in school to Isaiah as a sense of camaraderie, in that he would use it in a friendly manner instead of a racially charged way. So he tried to provide an excuse for Mitchell Miller's use of the N-word consistently through school, and I found it so shocking and appalling.
There's also a point where Eustace King says that he didn't know that Mitchell Miller didn't know that Isaiah Meyer-Crothers was developmentally hindered. I don't even know what the right term is, because I don't know what what it actually is. But to be frank, it really doesn't matter. Like, it's sort of, he's like, well, he what they're essentially trying to do here is diminish, what somebody with, I don't know if it would matter to you listening, but I think to me it really bothers me that somebody who does have a developmental disability, we don't know what it is, but we know that it exists. It's not really any of our business. That would be diminished to make another player who was racist towards the first person look better or look less bad. It's like, well, it's a developmental delay, but I mean, it's not like on a scale.
Say what you mean.
Say what you mean. It's not one of the ones where they like, it's not that bad.
Yeah. I just,
and I
that's obviously touchy for me, right?
That's why I thought I would ask you about it.
Yeah. So there's my sister who, like, I can't really have a proper conversation with, right?
How old is your sister?
She's 31 now. And yeah, there's a lot there. But just say what you mean. Say what you mean. He's high, is the popular term now high functioning, I suppose. This guy can stick up for himself. Mm-hmm. Look, he can talk.
He makes it a point to mention that Isaiah has a child. He's living on his own. He makes these points to try and diminish the disabilities that.
Oh, is that what he said?
He makes it known that Isaiah's living on his own and has a child.
Because he said the reason Mitchell reached out initially was to congratulate him on the birth of his child.
That was their initial contact.
Just say what you mean, Eustace. He might have had a problem, but he's not like one of those, Just say what you mean. Say what you mean. Like I haven't been hearing this shit my whole life. Like, I think it should carry some weight that all throughout last show, I over and over again said there should be a path to, being able to forgive what Mitchell Miller did because of his age. And I feel like it should carry a little bit of weight because I spent the vast majority of my childhood fantasizing about beating the shit out of kids like Mitchell Miller. Right? My sister went to a different high school, which always made me really uncomfortable because I never knew what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
The program for her wasn't available at ours.
It wasn't available. There's a lot there. There's intricate issues to talk about there, but the high school she went to, not far away, had the support for her, and ours didn't. And I always wondered about the possibility of, Mitchell Miller's in that school. And still, though, I'm like, but he was a kid. And he could have grown up. Throughout all this, I've maintained it's monstrous what he did. It's possible to make amends. It's not given.
And by the way, the victim is under no pressure to forgive. It's up to the victim.
Yeah. And I still think it's maybe even possible for him to do the work and simply accept that he's never going to be forgiven.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And what's wrong with doing the work? And
he should do the. Well, I think we're all agreed. He should be doing the fucking work.
Yes.
The whole thing about you think there's a path and he can do all this stuff is that he never did any of it.
Well, how many more times, how many different ways do people need to be told he hasn't fucking done anything? For this to be done and over with. I kind of think, I don't know. I kind of think it is.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still something lurking out there. I do still, after all of this, because he's what, 20, 21?
He's 20.
He's 20.
Yeah, I think he turns 21 in December.
Could he play in the league when he's 26, 27, 28? Maybe. I mean, a 26, 27, 28-year-old is pretty different from a 20-year-old. But he needs to go on that walk. He needs to go on that journey. And kid, just fucking do it. Just do it. Simply put in the work. Again, what I said last show, you know what's harder than apologizing? Learning Russian. You're never going to play in the National Hockey League unless you go on this journey. Man, people have gone to prison and come back and played the National Hockey League. And you can't find a way in because of what you did in middle school and continued to do afterward. And you're taking the wrong lessons from that. This is the woke mob and cancel culture.
Well, it's a victim mentality, the way that he and his family have handled it. It's we're the victims here. You saw the tweets that his dad were retweeting. He's paid for this 20 times over. Guys, you're not the victim. You're not the victim. And in what I desperately hope, I could give a fucking shit what happens to Mitchell Miller the rest of his life. I don't care. But what I do care about is, can we leave Isaiah Meyer-Crothers alone? Can we this guy just wants to be left alone to live his life.
And I don't like that because of certain posts on social media, he felt pressured to release a statement himself instead of having his mom do it.
And I wonder if
that's exactly what happened.
Is that what happened?
That's my assumption.
Yeah, because there was a group putting out a narrative that it's weird that his mom was speaking up for him.
No one thought it was weird that Cam Neely and Don Sweeney had a fucking press conference. You know, when a powerful organization goes out there and puts out a message about your family, shouldn't you be screaming from the rooftop what the story actually is, or at very least your version?
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Yeah, I think
let's all use our heads.
The most important thing here is that Isaiah is just a regular person, and he's not trying to be a national celebrity, and he's just trying to live his life, and this attention is unwanted. And it's the pressure, I think, it was definitely the pressure that people were putting out on social media about, oh, his mother's doing all the talking, because you clearly see it at the beginning of the statement.
Well, and it's not like the people that said that, by the way,
they're the awful side.
I mean, so you got one powerful organization and then another powerful organization pushing that narrative.
Mm-hmm.
And you just, you wonder, like, I don't know. Nobody has anything to gain here except for Mitchell Miller. The Bruins had nothing to gain. That group had nothing to gain. I don't get this.
I hate to use the underpants gnomes as the comparable here, but every time something like this happens and a Joni Meyer-Crothers pops up and does she did a bit of a media blitz. It's first, do media blitz. Second, third step profit. Like what do you think the end goal is for her? You know what I mean? By doing all these no, people are talking about her family and she wants
she's speaking out on behalf of her son. Like,
I don't think they're going to make money off this.
Right.
Yeah. So to take the conversation to where it is now, this statement was issued for two reasons. Number one is the one we've just talked about.
Mm-hmm.
It's the fact that there were people out there going, how come he can't speak for himself? And then number two, it was in response to the, I don't know if you call them mistruths. I don't know if you call them the spin on that podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And so by the agent. And so where does that leave us? And because now the question is, okay, so what? Right? The hardest part for me here is, and I said this on the last episode, we know that hockey culture's got a problem. The NHL denied that for years. It's come out over and over and over again since the firing of Don Cherry. Let's be honest. That's what really kicked off a lot of shit in this sport. I think that for me is the first time I can remember the sport going, yeah, we got a bit of a problem here. We're going to make a change.
That happened shortly before COVID. I barely remember it happened.
Right. So, but there's been and here's what I don't get. These concepts aren't hard, right? Players got them. Fans got them. We saw that in Boston. We saw the room stand up and say, we are not okay with this. We don't like this. We don't want this. And we saw the fans come together and say, we're not okay with this. We don't want this. And we're going to do something about this. Because the players' way, like you never hear, what have you ever heard of an NHL player going against something their general manager did?
Nothing.
The worst I've ever even heard is a coach, and it was Babcock versus Dubas when they wanted to go get a right shot defenseman and ended up with Jake Muzzin, and Babs was upset about it.
Or I think it was Nikita Kucherov in like the Russian media saying something about, I don't even think he named Alex Killorn, but it was all about Alex Killorn's contract and how he didn't play well. Yeah, and then they won a couple cups together, so I think they're buds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even if they're not, they won a couple cups together.
Yeah.
It's I want to know. I'm not saying that there isn't issues with fans and with players too, but I want to know why management and ownership on these teams, and I include Hockey Canada in that. I include USA Hockey as well. I don't know much about the rest of the other organizations that represent countries, but we know USA Hockey has its blemishes big time, including the person that's running it. We know that Hockey Canada has some major issues, and I keep asking myself, okay, so we got a hockey culture issue. How do we change it if the people in charge, after all that we have seen in the especially last 2.5 years, if they still have not uploaded that into their brains, what are we to do now?
I still maintain a hope. Listen,
of course you maintain a hope,
but the Bruins players, like, one thing I noticed that was interesting. So the Bruins had their game against the Leafs, and I thought they were, gripping the sticks really tight. Very next game, they're at home. They're wearing the reverse retros. They're joking in the pregame interviews. The vibes are immaculate. all those players got to go out there and have a guilt-free time, and all the fans got to cheer for the players guilt-free because the players did their job, right? And the culture of that locker room is so strong that it overrode management. And once there's a firing or two that happens here, we know this is a bit of a last dance situation for the Bruins. Guys are going to retire, and those guys are going to get hired. The instant Patrice Bergeron retires, he's going to get a job with the Bruins organization. I don't know what it's going to be, and maybe he'll have to work his way up or something like that. But that guy's going to be in charge one day. He's going to be in charge of the Boston Bruins. And then he'll be one of the decision makers. And I think that's a great thing. That to me is progress, and it's going to take time. And
progress does take a lot slower.
I think if you compare the NHL in the 90s, where there are literal police reports that are reprehensible that you can Google about some of the biggest stars of the game, and those things just went unchecked and they played the next day. I think that we've seen a huge change in the last 30 years from where we were to where we are now. I think we are moving in the correct direction just by comparing what has happened in the past and what you can get away with now.
Yeah, there has
been a huge change.
Yeah, not everyone wants to hear it, but and maybe it's not as quickly as you'd like. It's improving.
Progress is slow. We'll get there.
Now, I have an issue, and I would like to bring it to the fore, because I don't think, and again, I keep asking why people who are a lot smarter and a lot more credible than I am aren't asking certain questions in hockey. I'll bring it up again. I have questions about why nobody's raised anything about Bob Nicholson yet. And I got a question about Gary Bettman's press conference this weekend in Finland.
What?
I missed that as well.
Well, because we got two conflicting stories. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Gary said on mic, and again, I'll paraphrase. He said, I had no idea about this. We were not consulted. Remember? That's what the NHL's position was.
Okay.
We were not. Cam Neely on Monday said, we told the NHL and gave him the heads up on Wednesday. 2 full days before the Mitchell Miller signing was announced, and they said, yep, you can register the contract. And the contract, by the way, was registered. I don't know. Nobody's gotten into the details yet, but this guy's going to have to be bought out.
Right. I think there's a difference in Gary's lawyer speak. I think there's a difference in he was consulted on the signing of Mitchell Miller, and they registered the contract with the league.
I think Neely said, I gave the league a heads up, is what Neely said.
Because I know they filed it, like Eustace King said it, like they filed the paperwork, everything was registered with Central Registry. I don't know if Gary Bettman's on every single signing that's there. And
I think he would be on that.
But and his words were he wasn't like consulted, like they didn't look to Gary Bettman's opinion to make this sign.
I think they just told him we're doing it.
Yeah.
Right? And
so Gary could have said
been
no.
on a flight to Finland. I don't know.
But that's not the impression that he left us with.
No?
He left us with
you heard it. I didn't.
Well, he left us with the impression, you go look up the footage, that he was blindsided by this like the rest of us. And it distracted. Here's the thing. It distracted from what should have been a celebratory game or a couple of games in Finland. Remember, the NHL in Finland this weekend should have been something. There should have been a story in North America. Right. Not a huge story, but it should have been a story. It was, nobody cared. Patrick Laine's homecoming. Nobody gives a shit. Why? Because this took over.
Do you want me to play it?
Yeah,
what Gary said.
Who's this from?
It doesn't matter. It's from the press conference. It's just it's the clip from the press conference.
There should be a place for a person with this history in the league today.
What I understand and I've heard through the media, and I totally what he did as a 14-year-old is reprehensible, unacceptable. Before the Bruins made the decision to sign him, we were not consulted. I happened to talk to Cam Neely since the time that he was signed. He's not coming into the NHL. He's not eligible at this point to come into the NHL. I can't tell you that he'll ever be eligible to come into the NHL. If, in fact, at some point they think they want him to play in the NHL, and I'm not sure that they're anywhere close to that point, we're going to have to clear him and his eligibility, and it'll be based on all the information that we get firsthand at the time. So the answer is they were free to sign him to play somewhere else. That's another league's issue. But nobody should think at this point he is or may ever be NHL eligible.
I think you have very careful words in that they weren't consulted on the direct signing.
I just feel like, how could they not have known? Here's the thing. Again, we talked about this on Monday. You're either stupid or you're ignorant.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay? Oh, sorry, stupid and you like, okay, so what you're telling me is that a player with this type of history who was relinquished by the team that drafted him,
Arizona,
who has been like, everybody knows this story.
Yep. Oh, we knew it right away when you mentioned it.
Everybody knows the Mitchell Miller, Isaiah Meyer-Crothers story. Everybody knows that. And you're telling me Gary Bettman, literal king of hockey, at least on the business side, he's literally the emperor, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're telling me that nobody at head office, that you run like a mafia family, allegedly, that you run like your own personal fiefdom, and you're telling me that one of the teams on your executive registered a contract with this player and you didn't get the heads up, that you didn't know. And this is my problem, because he says, oh, I did speak to Cam Neely after the signing. That's not what the Bruins were saying.
There's definitely a confusion on the timeline here, because they announced the signing Friday. Mm-hmm. I am willing to bet did not make the signing Friday.
I think it was Wednesday.
Well, so they said they notified the NHL. It would have been Wednesday or Thursday. Yeah. We have a press conference Friday. So they signed him Wednesday or Thursday. That to me sounds like they just told him.
Yeah.
I am not inclined to ever give Gary Bettman the benefit of the doubt. Mm-hmm. But I kind of believe him more than Cam Neely on this one.
And I believe he chose his words carefully. I think
at least someone has.
He could have known that the signing was. Jeremy Jacobs could have been like, "Hey, I'm doing this signing," but it wasn't a consultation on should I do this. I think he was very careful about his words, and he said they weren't consulted on the signing. Like, he wasn't asked directly, "Hey, Gary, do you think we should do this? Can we do this?" I think he was just like, as somebody told him, "Hey, the signing is happening. This is it. We're doing our press conference."
So then, okay, so let's say that's true.
Yeah,
and I agree with you.
That was the point.
I'm sure that's totally true, Jesse. So then, as Gary Bettman, do you not say, "Hey, Jeremy, you know what's going on, right? You guys sure you want to do this?"
Right.
I don't know if Gary Bettman and Jeremy Jacobs have conversations about, like, I think the Bruins just looked at this as, okay, this is going to be a bit of a problematic minor league signing, but we're going to restock the cupboards, and he'll come up at some point and it'll be fine.
Remember, they wouldn't have done this if they knew that the outcome was going to be this. They thought this was fine. Cam Neely thought this was going to get a thumbs up from the organization, from the media, from the press, and be like, okay, here's this kid who's rehabilitated his thing. They thought this was going to be cool.
The far more confusing one for me is someone who was given more than 24 or 48 hours heads up, and that's Patrice Bergeron. And one thing that was said on the CJ show, I don't remember if it was CJ or Julian, but why on earth consult Patrice Bergeron just to ignore him?
Who said, no, I don't want this. And then you went ahead and did it.
And you went ahead and did it anyway. And that, it's just Patrice. He's got
to suck it up.
He's just, I got a team to run. No, man, that's like one of the most, if not the most respected captains in the National Hockey League. That guy has legitimately sent me to therapy, and I still like him.
Yeah, they're like, he's 35, he'll be gone in a little bit. We need some future here as 20-year-old Mitchell Miller.
Yeah, I don't get that. At all. And I guess to move on in the conversation, the Bruins are going to have to pay this guy money, and I think there's a very good chance it ends up on the cap. So the way it is right now, and I was talking to someone about this yesterday, so his contract, according to Cap Friendly, has a signing bonus of $95,000. The way I understand contracts is he's got that money. He's either got it or at very least is owed. Right? Mm-hmm. So there you go. Merry Christmas. They can bury him in the minors for the remainder of the year, and he makes enough. He doesn't make enough money for it to be on the cap, so it's just burying that amount of money. Again, if they have to do that for the entire season, they owe him the full season.
I think you're looking at this as a typical contract, and I think this has become a legal issue.
Well, it's become a legal issue.
Here's it's not going to be solved like a normal contract.
If I'm the other 31 teams in the NHL to now bring this into the competitive sphere,
I have a quote, guys.
Which it will. Okay.
I have a quote.
From who?
Ken Campbell's got both Gary Bettman and Cam Neely's quotes.
Okay.
On what I was saying. Gary Bettman said before the Bruins, and you just heard it, before the Bruins made the decision to sign Mitchell Miller, we were not consulted. Cam Neely, I want to clarify, Don Sweeney talked to NHL Deputy Commissioner Bill Daly on Wednesday. You telling me
it's never not Bill? I'm sorry to laugh. It's
you
never.
Not think that's weird that no one's bringing that up?
It's never not that guy, is it? Oh my God, he's the worst.
And in that press conference, to defend Gary again, since we're on the fucking defend, he was talking about himself. That he wasn't. Bill Daly was sitting right next to him, but Bill Daly didn't speak up.
Damn, I wish I could go back to that press conference and go, was Bill consulted?
Yeah.
Oh,
he's a master with words. He's
a lawyer.
Fucking lawyer.
Yeah. Now, okay. So
we were making a point about the contract.
Oh, sorry. So to bring this into this is now entering a legal sphere.
Yes.
Where is money going to change hands? Is it just going to get wiped clean? I don't think the one aspect of this I think I would understand the NHLPA on is I'm not sure I like the precedent that you can sign a guy and then be like, never mind, we didn't sign the guy. Mm-hmm. That's a dangerous precedent to set for players who are not named Mitchell Miller. You know what I mean? And from a competitive sphere, the other 31 teams in the NHL, I think, have a right to be like, why aren't they, if they're buying this guy out, why aren't they getting dinged? Mm-hmm. And it's not a lot of money. Like I think it's less than $250,000 the next 2 years. And it's less than $200,000 the 2 years after that. But it should, if you buy him out today on Cap Friendly's buyout calendar, or calculator, sorry, it should, if you buy him out today, be a cap hit on the Bruins books for 4 years. And if I'm a team in the Atlantic Division, and I happen to cheer for one, but if I'm a competing general manager, there are general managers out there who didn't like that the Leafs were flying players in from Europe on their own dime. So don't tell me they're not going to be competitive enough to be like, what the fuck, you bought a player out? If you're one of the other teams in the league, I think you should absolutely be able to ask, sorry, why are they able to just wipe the slate clean on this? Can we do that?
Yeah, and I think...
Can we do this?
Well, it's like that. It was like that LA Kings Mike Richards buyout where his contract just disappeared and no one's ever talked about it.
Right. Why? Well, yeah, and they settled on, this is the cap penalty. What? No, there was by the collective bargaining agreement, here's rules. What it was supposed to be. And the Kings just got out from under it.
And I think,
why?
There should also be a stupid tax that the Bruins should have to pay for this whole mess.
How are they not being fined?
Yeah.
You know what? They're probably not being fined because Bill Daly knew. Cam's saying that Bill Daly knew.
That's a very interesting point, Adam. Bruins fans, I'm not going at you. I'm not going at the Boston Bruins team. You know I really respect the Bruins team. However,
upper management.
Yeah, the upper management kind of deserves to pay the stupid tax on this one.
Now, according to Fluto Shinzawa,
who's doing fucking unbelievable.
Oh my God. Like an instant follow, please. Mm-hmm. If Twitter even exists in a couple weeks. But Fluto has confirmed that Cam Neely did have a conversation, finally did connect with Isaiah Mothers, Joni, and they had a 45-minute conversation. He offered, among the things offered, I believe, was obviously counseling help and that sort of thing, and to Isaiah and to the family. And she said she was satisfied with the conversation.
That was good.
So listen,
progress.
Was that so hard?
A week ago, we could have done that a week ago.
Was that so fucking hard? Man, like again,
I like when we all did this thing.
That we all did I'm turning you all into Italian no-nos. I will do it.
Anyway.
No, was that so hard?
Seems like it was not.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on. None of this needed to happen. None of this needed to happen.
I think that might be the episode title right there.
None of this needed to happen. Honestly, if he had the right guidance around him, and I'm talking about Mitchell Miller, if he had the right guidance around him, he'd be playing National Hockey League games for the Arizona Coyotes right now.
I think that is one of the most important things to take out of our Monday conversation and today's conversation is that the people around Mitchell Miller have not been raising him correctly.
But he's an adult now, and this is his fault.
But through those 6 years from 14 to 20, whatever, the people around him, his parents, his community, they have not done Mitchell Miller the correct service in raising him with good values. When an 8-year-old's late to school every day, it's not the 8-year-old's fault. It's the parents who bring him to school.
So, listen, this has been a really tough conversation. If you've made it through, we really appreciate it because, I think as a community, we do need to talk about these things. It's not always going to be fun and easy. Clearly, over the last few years, it hasn't been. But also, for us to enjoy hockey like we all want to have it be an escape, we gotta exercise these. These things have to come out. Things have to change. And so,
and things are.
And things are. That's an important thing. That things are. They're just not moving fast enough.
If you hate hockey so much, why you cover it, why you watch it?
Come on.
I believe in it. I believe in it.
Yeah. There's too many good people in hockey for this not to change and not get better.
Fun. Yeah. Great sport.
Yeah, like for as downtrodden as you can be and discouraged, the change is there if you look hard enough. And as time goes, you don't have to look quite as hard.
Half of our country is built around getting a Tim Hortons and sitting in a cold rink on a Saturday morning. Hockey's fun.
Yeah. There's a reason we all like it. And we're the ones who pay to do it. They don't pay us. Right. So, hey, listen, we are going to take, if this is going to be a difficult thing to move off of and gently transition into actually talking about hockey games, so there isn't one. Let's talk about the Leafs in Vegas last night.
Sorry, I just wanted to say, what's better than rink fries? Everything and nothing.
Nothing.
Remember the meal at the wrestling event we went to? Those fucking fries?
Yeah, we went to Greektown Wrestling, which was essentially in a barn. Like there should have still been hay on the floor, and they just set up. Yeah. What? Oh man, what did we get?
What was the chicken on a stick?
Yeah.
Do you remember that? And I was like, I have to get the chicken on a stick, and it was literally just a stick with little pieces of chicken, like I'm pretty sure souvlaki.
They didn't. Yeah, but I don't think they called it souvlaki. I think they just called it chicken
on a stick. Yeah, and it was like $10, and it was 2 pieces of sticks and 6 pieces of chicken.
Okay, just gonna say, did chicken come with the stick?
Oh, it did.
Okay, good. That's important. Listen, you can't be in Greektown and call something Slovakia and it's not Slovakia. That's why you call it chicken on a stick.
It was in an arena. People were jumping off of Zambonis, doing elbow drops. Brett the Hitman Hart was there. It was practically singing the national anthem together. And Phil from YTV was there.
Yeah, Phil, who's always at those indie wrestling things.
Love it.
Yeah.
Steve cosplayed as Santino Marella by just being Steve.
Oh. I got you with the Cobra.
By the way, Steve was mentioning, is there anything better than rink fries? I'll tell you what's better.
What?
Getting off the ice and having a nice, warm, not Gatorade, not even a Powerade.
I think I'm going to meet you.
A blue thirst-quenching drink from whatever generic grocery store the family that brought drinks, and which was always my family. We would buy the drinks. We would bring the worst drinks. It was like there's Coca-Cola, there's Pepsi Cola, there's RC Cola.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about? And then there's like the Loblaws brand.
But you just got off the ice, so you drink it. You're doing those gulps like. Those.
Yes, because you're so out of breath and you're so thirsty at the same time.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. After years of fine print contracts and getting ripped off by big wireless providers, if we learned anything, there's always a catch. So when we first heard about Mint Mobile, offering premium wireless starting at just $15 a month. We thought, what is the catch? But after talking to them about their service, it all made sense. There isn't any catch at all. Mint Mobile's secret sauce is that they're the first company to sell wireless service online only. They cut out the cost of retail stores and pass those savings on to you. If you hate your phone bill, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless at just $15 a month. Mint Mobile gives you the best rate, whether you're buying for one or a family. And at Mint, families start at 2 lines. All plans come with unlimited talk, text, and high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. So basically, if you want to get your new wireless plan for $15 a month, you can get that plan shipped to your front door for free. Go to mintmobile.com/SDP. That's mintmobile.com/SDP. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com. American listeners only. Again, it's mintmobile.com/SDP. Our next product is pretty cool. Let's talk about Athletic Greens. Jesse, why do you like Athletic Greens so much?
I like Athletic Greens because Lewis Hamilton drinks Athletic Greens. I also drink Athletic Greens every morning. So I am basically the same as my favorite driver,
Are you tall,
Lewis Hamilton.
handsome, successful? Jesse Blake or Lewis Hamilton? You'll love Athletic Greens.
Lewis Hamilton is not tall. He is a short king.
That's true. He is
About to say, that's a race car driver.
Yeah.
That's the opposite of what they are.
That's very true. Very true. Now listen, Athletic Greens is lifestyle friendly, whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, gluten-free. We talk about this every single week. It was started by somebody who was fed up with the supplement thing and wasn't getting the benefits that they needed. And here's the thing. When you take 1 scoop in the morning, and that's all you need, you get 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to start your day right. And when you use the promo code, are you ready? Are you ready for the promo code? It's SDP. I had to find it. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you 1 free supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is go to athleticgreens.com/SDP. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/SDP to take ownership of your health and pick up the ultimate in daily nutritional insurance and potentially be handsome, just like Jesse.
And Lewis.
All right, let's talk about the Leafs losing. Coffin one up in Vegas. The thing that everybody's talking about, in Toronto versus Vegas, the thing that everybody's talking about, it's a good thing you guys corrected me on where the game was played. We would have fucking lost the whole show.
You fucking idiot.
You can imagine the comment section? No, yes. I'm just kidding.
Yes, I can.
Though the thing that comes out of this game, especially out of Sheldon Keefe's mouth, that I thought that was the most interesting, is game management. He said, we still have a long way to go with game management. I don't think if you watch this game, other than the first minute and the last minute of the game, really, the first minute, the first 40 seconds, man, that sucked. The last minute in overtime, wow, that really sucked too. Man. That was a good, hard-fought game against a Vegas team that's very, very good. 2 good teams playing very good hockey.
Yeah.
A lot of up and down. I think you got to be happy with that as a Leaf fan. It's a loss that it's like, we lost to a team.
I'm happier with that loss than previous losses, if that makes sense. Okay. So, what do I keep hammering? Arizona, they lost. Montreal, they lost. Maybe, I don't know if Montreal should be lumped into that conversation anymore. They're doing okay. San Jose loss. Anaheim loss. The common denominator of all those losses is they looked like shit. If all those losses looked like this one versus Vegas, people still would have been mad. There would have still been some of the same discourse.
But not like this.
But people would be like, you know what? Pucks are going to bounce their way. So in that way, it was a good loss. But for me, I'm looking at this game and I'm like, you dominated them and you lost because you made all 4 goals went in off bonehead plays.
Yes.
If you listen to the beginning of today's LFR,
yeah,
Steve is a lot closer to where I was last episode than you were in your previous LFR.
Yeah.
You were slowly coming around to that was not the best. That wasn't the best playoff hockey out of this team. Like they weren't setting themselves up for April success with that loss to Vegas.
And you know, you can talk about, well, it's not April. Okay. It's, you know what all winners do? They keep the bar nice and low.
Until April.
You keep the bar mid. You're going to have a mid team.
Right.
Like, Sandin.
That was unforgivable.
Well, it's a microcosm of his season.
Well, it's what happens when you miss training camp.
He's been bad.
Mm-hmm.
He's been bad, and you could say the Leafs aren't exactly putting him in a position to succeed by putting him on the right. That's the position that's available.
That's why you signed the contract. He signed that contract, by the way, because two Leafs, Liljegren and Ben, went down, and he knew there would be an opportunity for him to play some serious minutes.
Yep, and in those serious minutes, he's looked terrible.
And
frankly.
that contract, unlike with Nylander, which everybody remembers, the contract that he signed is the one that was available to him all summer.
Yeah, and listen, I got asked a question that I didn't put in the LFR, so I'll answer it now. Who would you rather have in the lineup right now if you had to make a choice? Rasmus Sandin or Justin Hall?
I think you're going Justin Hall.
I know who I'd like to have under contract, and that's Rasmus Sandin going forward. I think he's going to be better.
Skills are there.
Skills are 100% there. But if I have a gun to the earth, aliens coming down, and you got to win one hockey game, and I have to choose between Justin Hall and Rasmus Sandin to put into the lineup right now of a winner-take-all game, I'm absolutely putting Justin Hall. Are you kidding? Sandin hasn't been enough of a factor offensively. I think he got an assist last night, and that's his bread and butter. He has been laying a lot of hits. Mm-hmm. I like that he does that, but boy, his own blue line, anything in the defensive zone that's not directly in the corner, it's just not there. So anyway, that's the first goal. Liljegren he didn't think he played that well if you watch the interview.
I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, and it's the best offensive game of his career. He scored 2 goals. But cough one up.
Bad turnover.
There's the second gift. What happened on the third goal? Oh, the third goal was shorthanded. Yeah. Willie!
I'm just gonna fucking flail at it.
Willie! Come on,
Jesus.
Man. Like that's an easily avoidable mistake. Morgan Riley's back there doing his job. Mitch Marner's not the friggin' Flash.
He almost was.
He almost was.
Man. He was going.
Mitch was buzzing last night.
He was going.
Awesome.
Yeah, well.
Besides, then fucking terrible over the glass penalty.
Terrible over the glass penalty. He was on the ice in overtime.
Oh, yeah.
But we know he can create magic.
Mm-hmm.
He can create magic. And if that's not the Leafs in a nutshell, I don't know what is. They giveth and taketh away, right? This friggin' team. So I guess to put the leafiest spin on it ever, they're losing better.
They're losing better. And I was encouraged by that. But they're going to lose games. They're going to make mistakes.
That matchup in a 7-game series, Leafs lose 4 games.
I don't think
Vegas
so.
wins that series.
No, I don't think so. I think the way the
based on last night?
Yeah.
No
if
way.
you saw those 2 teams play.
No.
Based on last night.
Same lineup?
7-game series.
Leafs are going to win.
Who are you taking?
No, that's the sort of game. The Leafs, I'm a student of their playoff losses, right? And in almost all the series, have a loss where you can look back on and go, that was fucking unforgivable that you lost that game. I can't really think of what it was in the Tampa series. You could argue game 6. They had the lead in the third period. There's the penalty. They were the better team in overtime.
What happened when it was up 2-1? Because they were up 2-1 in that series.
They lost game 4.
Yeah.
I don't remember how.
Was it not a close game? I forget.
There was one game where they got their ass kicked. I think that might have been it.
It might have been game 4.
Yeah,
okay.
That might have been it.
Yeah.
Montreal, I don't know, all of them. All of the... I can't hold game 1 against them. Game 1 was really close. At the end of the day, game 1 doesn't matter. You're up 3-1.
Mm-hmm.
You're up 3-1. So take game 5 where you were easily the worst team on the ice until you were down 3-0. Game 6, same shit. They got outplayed the entire time except for overtime. And game 7, they got outplayed the full 60. They really committed to that one. So take your pick. Boston, you got to close that out at home in 2019, game 6. 2018, you have an opportunity to tie the series at home. No Bergeron in the lineup. You allow a goal first minute on home ice. Sound familiar? They lead the league in first minute goals. They're on pace to allow 17 of them this season.
My point was that all those losses that you just outlined, did you not see a lot of last night's Leafs in those losses?
Yeah, sorry. Where I was going with that is no, I don't see a Leaf team that would get swept by Vegas.
No, not swept. I said they would lose 4 in 7.
Oh, yeah, no, I see a team that would lose a 7-game series.
That's what I said.
But be fully capable of winning.
Of hanging in there.
They're 100% capable.
Yes, a couple bounces.
And this is why, so this goes back to a thing that has dogged the Leafs for years. You touched on it. You guys have both touched on it. Why can't this team start on time?
I don't know. And it was a problem.
Why is the first minute and why is the first 10 minutes sometimes so hard?
Yeah. Again, you got to be a student of this team to talk about them. Sheldon Keefe needs to do his job to prepare. Fuck! It happened to the last guy! What's
the common denominator?
The players. Well, but even they'll bring in different players!
No. Sorry.
They'll bring in different players. I do like Jeff O'Neill's point.
Which was?
What the why do you have the fourth line of the ice?
Yeah, that was so stupid. He's like, you get the chance to have Matthews out there, you run him every time.
You run him every time, but then Vegas throws their first line.
4v4.
Well, then what do? You throw Tavares, for God's sake. Why do you have both these guys?
That was fucking boneheaded.
It was so stupid.
It just kills me watching Austin Matthews' first shift to the ice. And I look up at the monitor, and before his skates have even touched the ice, it's 1-0 for the other guys.
And you're like, it's 16:42 left in the first, and Austin Matthews is touching the ice.
But the one part of that narrative that is overblown, it's Sandin's fault, and he's not on the fourth line.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing you could argue is, why is it fourth line, third pair? That was Galaxy brain.
Hey, Vegas, we know you're good, so we're going to show you our very worst. I don't get that at all. I maybe they were trying to get cute. Sometimes coaching staffs overthink things. They try something, go, maybe this is the way. It's not the way.
Yeah.
Start your best players.
Can I give you one of the narratives, and if you can dispel it, that would be great.
Ooh.
Because a lot of people are saying that, hey, our third string goalie is in there, and we're on the third game against one of the top teams in the league.
Knock it off.
We had getting 1 point was a good win. Good win for the team, and that we came up with 1 point, and we should be happy.
No.
Stop.
Stop being happy with a loss.
Stop setting the bar. No, you can be happy with a loss.
I think you can respect how the team played. I was the one. Hey, you're telling me I was the one who came in here and was like, I guess you're going to lose against good teams, is what I said. I said that.
It's a middling.
Happy-go-lucky Adam.
But to say that you're like, well. Man, this is the NHL. You got to fucking work with what you got.
You know who's got their third goalie in net right now?
Who?
Vegas!
Oh. Really? How's it going for them?
Robin Lehner is supposed to be their starting goaltender.
Mm-hmm.
They went out and they got Aiden Hill,
mm-hmm.
who makes a lot more money. And Aiden Hill and Logan Thompson were basically supposed to battle it out. And they got Laurent Brossoit, who I believe is hurt. Logan Thompson was not supposed to play games for Vegas last year.
Yep.
And he has since become one of the best goalies in the league. Now, that is rare. And I'm not asking Eric Shelgren to be Logan Thompson.
Are you even asking Eric Shelgren to have a 9 save percentage?
No, dude, he made big saves in big moments.
I'm asking you. Are you asking him to have a 9 save percentage?
Flat
9.
I'd like that. That'd be cool.
Is that a reasonable expectation?
Oh, no. No.
It's not. What's reasonable?
Well,
875? 885?
Well, higher than 875. Like an 890.
Okay.
890. He's your third stringer. And you know what's wild? And no one has talked about this, but we have a show with microphones, so let's do it now. The Leafs have, I believe, their 19th back-to-back of the season coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Who
is that? It only 19th?
Who at the NHL schedule offices hates the Leafs so fucking much? This is
the back half of their schedule is very easy.
Thank God.
Yeah, it balances out.
The first month and a half has been brutal, but so they got a back-to-back. Starter usually gets the front half, right? Okay, cool. That means Keith Petruzzelli, NHL debut, Hockey Night in Canada against the Canucks. So maybe take the over on the Leafs versus Canucks game.
Yeah.
Who I dropped Thatcher Demko. I finally did it. Did it. He's going to play a lot of games and lose most of them. I don't care. I waited over a month.
Who are your other two goalies? Because you like to have 8 goalies on your roster.
I have Ullmark and Swayman is on IR. I got to pick someone up off waivers, and I've made peace with that.
No, you could run with just Ullmark.
He's
been unreal.
When you have the best, I think he's the best fantasy goalie in the league by points. I got him off waivers. I'm making peace with the fact that I'll just have to get someone off waivers. I'm 0-4. I need to change it up.
We can talk about how you lost by 4 points later. But
fuck,
can you guys dispel another narrative that's going out there?
What is it?
Sure.
Good teams start slow all the time. Look at Tampa. Look at the Rangers. They're struggling right now.
I'm not talking about starting slow in the season. I'm talking about starting slow in the games.
Yeah, I'm talking about starting slow in the games.
Yeah, you know what else good teams don't do? Or some good teams actually start fast. This is the thing. Like,
I am upset that none of you read the book. None of you read my book.
What's the book?
Keep your head in your own boat. The Leafs' struggles and successes have nothing to do with how shitty the Blues are, how shitty the Canucks are, how shitty the Penguins are.
Yeah.
How shitty
Flames?
Who else is the Flames.
6 games in a row now?
Jonathan Huberdeau's got the injury. They got to keep him out.
Keep your head in your own boat. Oh, no one's talking about that. Yeah, they are actually.
Yeah, that's the thing.
No one's talking about. Yes, they are.
Yeah, those local fans and media are talking about it.
They're talking about them less because, I don't know, St. Louis isn't as big, and neither is Pittsburgh.
Or Calgary.
Or the Couve. They love being called that.
They are talking about it, Vancouver, though.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of chat.
Yeah, no, we've been talking about that the whole time. Doug Armstrong spoke to the media 2 or 3 losses ago. No one's talking about it. No, it's scaled. It's scaled.
Columbus bought Johnny Gaudreau and is the 32nd best team in the NHL.
Seems relevant. And you're also forgetting that Leaf fans panic when the Leafs are bad, but also everyone else busts out the Jergens and tissue because they are beyond jacked.
Oh, God.
That the Leafs, they moisturize their hands so that they can clap them at the Leafs' failures. Get your head out of the gutter. This guy. They friggin' freak out when the Leafs are bad with their moisturized hands because they love it. Why is no one talking about? They are. Enough with that. You're making that up. They are. What? Are you one of those people? You look like you got moist knuckles.
I do. I have moist palms. I got wet hands right now, especially during the show.
You're a sweaty boy.
A bit of a sweaty boy. I think it's. I mean, comparing yourself to the Lightning, who have won 2 cups and been to 3 straight finals. If they start slow, they've played a lot of hockey. Even the Rangers, I'd be like, yo, man, the Rangers went all the way to the conference final last year. They've played a lot of hockey. Teams that do that traditionally start slow.
Or the Avalanche starting slow.
Oh man, can you imagine? Or even the Flames were in the second round last year, man. Like and they have a ton of turnover. The Leafs are the same team.
Yeah. Well,
same
team. Okay. Can we have a middle ground?
Yeah.
Between trade Kerfoot and they need a better option for the top line?
I think, Dennis Malkin's the guy. I don't know what you're talking about.
Every coach has their guy, and people wrongly say that Keefe's is Justin Hall. It's Kerfoot. He does a lot of things well. Holy shit, he can't finish.
No.
I've seen him do it, but holy cow, there's been a few now where Matthews has been back in the play because he was doing his defensive thing. Marner's up with Kerfoot. Marner gives Kerfoot a gimme. And it just sails 90 feet over the net. If he took that shot at a golf range, he's breaking windshields. Like, just right over the net. Right over everything. Oh, drives me nuts. Drives me absolutely nuts. What?
Just listen. Listening to you.
And another thing. Festivus is early. There is one clever thing that Sheldon Keefe is doing.
What is he doing?
He's trying to make Pierre Engvall Michael Bunting by osmosis.
Well, Pierre Engvall does not go into the corners hard. It would be very difficult.
Yeah, so now he's made him line mates with Michael Bunting, and I think Bunting is going to talk about, I don't know, line mates talk to each other, and I hope Michael Bunting peer pressures Pierre Engvall into playing hockey, vaguely.
Wow. I mean, man, I have to say, I don't see what you see in Kerfoot. I don't see anything productive happening.
I'm being very kind. He's the king of busy nothing. Does a lot of busy nothing.
Right. And so this is the things they need to, you know that there was that scene in the Amazon documentary for the Leafs where Keefe takes, what was his name? He's now with the Rangers.
Jimmy Vesey.
He takes him aside. What does he say?
Said, you're very vanilla. Basically there's nothing to your game. And can I just say, in retrospect, that was kind of fucked up. Leafs did that. And the only reason they did that is because Jimmy Vesey's not on the team anymore. Mm-hmm. They didn't show those conversations.
Well, but what I would say is that those are the guys I'd have. Engvall and Kerfoot. I'd be like, there's a little vanilla in the game right now. Mm. We know you're capable of more. What's going on?
Oh, some of the
they
stuff.
are capable. Engvall was amazing last year.
Some of the stuff that was.
How many hits does he have, Steve?
Engvall?
Yeah. Do you have it there?
Or no, 13.
13. No,
I had to look it up.
Is that good?
He did a bit in the LFR about how many hits.
Yo, Kerfoot. How many hits on the season? Registered hits.
13.
3.
Oh, there's a. I mean, that's not what he does. Like, it's not what he does.
He's on the top line because of his forechecking ability.
Oh, that's a problem.
Well, what do you think he's there for?
Because he can skate, man. He wheels.
I mean, the Hamlin brothers can skate. Are we signing them?
No, you're right. Okay.
Like, what the fuck?
Let's move on. The reality is, to wrap up the Leafs conversation, it's a frustrating thing when you lose a game like that you should have Ottawa won. They should have won that game.
Yes.
However, what I am seeing in the Leafs of the last 4 games is the effort that was missing from all the games that preceded it this season. Yeah. There is effort, there is passion, there is try, and I'm happy. I'll take it.
As a Leaf fan, I'm very excited for the next 3 games because they have their 5th stringer probably starting on Hockey Night in Canada. And what do you expect out of the Leafs? Play well against good teams, play bad against bad teams. The Penguins are a good team playing badly. What will happen? I don't know.
Ryan Reynolds was in Ottawa last night cheering on the Ottawa Senators when they scored against the Canucks. I just want to know. Listen, this would be great for the game. It's awesome. It's exciting. Definitely he needs to find somebody with big fat wallets. Mm-hmm. But if this happens, can Canucks fans forgive him? Will they forgive him? Because I'm looking at a guy who is all Vancouver all the time. And I know there's history there with Vanier. I get it.
Yeah.
And it's also an NHL team, so screw it, right? Eugene Melnyk was a huge Leaf fan. But I just thought it felt a little weird that Ottawa's scoring last night and he's up there yeah,
hooray, go team.
It just felt so weird. Am I wrong?
Adam, don't disparage noted guy who follows me, Ryan Reynolds.
Does he follow you?
Yes, he does.
You guys ever DM'd or?
I don't think so.
Invite him on the show.
I'm going to do that.
Wow, do it.
I'm going to invite Ryan Reynolds on the show.
Yeah, just be like, hey, Ryan, do you want to come on the show? We'd love to talk to you about it.
I'm going to DM
I want to know
Ryan
if he's conflicted.
Reynolds.
Don't you want to know if he's conflicted?
I do. Don't disparage Deadpool.
Okay. I don't want to mess this up.
I think Canucks fans forgive him because they like those movies.
Yeah, and also it would be great for the Sens, and it'd be great for the NHL, some personality.
Yeah. No, you're fine. I saw Waiting.
And
you're
like
fine.
the Canucks aren't for sale.
It's
It's an opportunity to own a professional sports franchise, which seems to be one of the most valuable assets you can own in the world right now because of how much they print money, and he's trying to get on that. Mm-hmm. And he has ties to Ottawa, and that's fair. His appearance on Jimmy Kimmel?
Fallon.
I forget which Jimmy it was. Jimmy Fallon, where he was like, he doesn't have the money to own a franchise outright. He needs a sugar daddy or sugar mommy. Prompted Gary Bettman to respond to that.
Yeah, I saw that quote. It's so
Can we play it?
If you want to.
Oh, no, we can't.
Okay.
Why not?
Because it's not a press conference. It's Jimmy Fallon.
No.
Gary Bettman, it's a press conference.
Responded
Oh,
to
sorry.
Ryan Reynolds.
I was like, it's owned by NBC, Jesse.
It's
My bad.
predictably disappointing, but go ahead, Jesse.
Oh, Adam doesn't like Gary Bettman saying sugar mommy.
Adam, what's your other podcast?
I don't mean it because of that. Are you
on a podcast where your job is to hate Gary Bettman?
No, it's not my job to hate him. It's just like this he could have done more with this quote.
Adam,
Oh, I'm sorry. You guys love Gary. I forgot.
Yeah.
You guys are big Gary people.
We don't run the Agent I Hate Gary Bettman podcast.
I'm big triple hard cap guy. Noted.
Yeah, make it harder.
Yeah.
How do we make it more cap?
How do we take money back?
4 times hard.
I think all the players should be playing for exposure.
Come on, you can get brand deals.
Here's Gary Bettman in Winnipeg today talking about sugar mommies.
He was quite articulate on the Tonight Show last night with Jimmy Fallon that he'd be very interested, and he needs either a sugar mommy or a sugar daddy with a lot of money to help him. I think those were his exact words that I'm quoting. He was quite
Who's laughing? Who are you? You play that fucking clip again.
That's comedy.
Play it again.
That is comedy.
Play that fucking clip again.
No matter if you think it's the driest thing in the world, that is still comedy.
He was quite articulate on the Tonight Show last night with Jimmy Fallon that he'd be very interested, and he needs either a sugar mommy or a sugar daddy with a lot of money to help him. I think those were his exact words that I'm quoting.
Who's Gary paying for that laugh track? Are you kidding me? Now, by the way, the quote does continue, and he's like, well, it's always good for the league when you get exposure. And he's right. It is good for the league.
Oh, my God. They're playing for exposure.
No more contracts. No more contracts. You can't get paid to play in the NHL. You can only play for exposure.
It's like when Gary talks about Mitchell Miller, he's got to notify the laugh track guy that he's not supposed to laugh at any of the next statements.
Off.
My God. Although, honestly, I hope on this show one day I can have a hotkey page where I can just fire little sound bites, and we're taking Sugar Mommy and Sugar Daddy from Gary
We're not
Bettman.
giving you that.
No.
Why not?
No, we're not.
I deserve
I can
that.
do it tomorrow. We have the technology. I'm not doing
I deserve it.
You need the adult version of a window lock.
Okay.
You can't be trusted.
The Oilers win, but they lose Kane in a really scary incident. You saw the wrist thing.
Holy shit.
He has posted something just now, actually, during the show that he's okay, and that he appreciates everybody reaching out. But that is, you forget. And Steve, you've said this before. We're playing a game on knife shoes.
I can't believe that doesn't happen all the time. It's like my number one fear actually playing hockey. I'm not worried about like the boards or I'm not worried about getting lit up because I'm not playing contact. But the skate thing, it's terrifying, man. That's and like you can wear the Kevlar. Like I saw people talking about the Kevlar. Like accidents happen, man.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you got pads, sometimes they move around during the game, so the Kevlar can move too.
Yeah, but
right?
I've never noticed it with Evander Kane. I think maybe it just rode up, but there are guys, like I always used to point it out with Travis Dermott. Like you can see like several inches of exposed skin every time that guy's on the ice. Fuck, knock that off.
Yeah.
You gotta stop, man.
Yeah.
Because you never know who's going to be next. But, I mean... Guys get it in the neck. Guys get it in the...
So
one thing I will say...
Phaneuf got it in the thigh, remember?
Yeah.
And he was out for a while.
One thing I do want to say is that the NHL had it right in the 70s. We've already been here. You go back and watch some footage from the 70s. Those gloves go right up to your elbow. Bobby Orr's gloves are like a machine shop pair of gloves. It's like he's smelting. That guy, those gloves protected. I don't understand why we got away from that. If it was good enough for Bobby Orr, why Bobby Orr could handle?
Yeah, nah.
Come on.
He could handle for the era.
Okay, you're telling me that now we couldn't come up with something.
Connor McDavid could not do what he does in essentially 2 goalie blockers.
Okay, but we're not using leather for gloves anymore either.
No, that's
so we have
true.
update. So before everybody gets on me, you don't know what you're talking. Are you telling me that we can't, with today's materials, come up with something that's a little bit better? Also,
I thought the big gloves were cool, by the way. It's interesting that there's no protection on your forearm. Like, really, it's the only place you're kind of exposed.
You can literally die.
Your midsection, if your pants don't go up high enough, you have that little place in between your shoulder pads and your...
upper thigh.
Yeah, upper thigh, too. Upper thigh. But your forearms are just out there for as high as your gloves go. That's it. You know, and then you have your elbow pads, but like the inside is just kind of there. I don't know, Adam. I think that's a great point. There kind of should be just maybe a slip-on. That's because your socks are cut resistant, right? They have the cut resistant socks and
the Kevlar.
Yeah, the Kevlar. So why not maybe a little forearm thing that just goes?
Yeah, even if it's like something that's suctioned to your arm, it doesn't have to be the glove. It can just
like
be
like a dry fit shirt that you throw on. That's kind of just maybe Kevlar.
Maybe you were an emo kid in high school and you wore those cutout gloves or whatever. It's kind of a cool look.
Justin Fisher.
Borrow from the emo kids, Justin Fisher.
Yeah. Yes, we have heard of Coheed and Cambria, but go ahead and play it again.
Yeah,
go ahead and play it again.
No, I'm sure it's the greatest album we've ever heard.
Anyway, not that
he really did play that DVD a lot.
A lot. Anyway, a little inside baseball there. But anyway, what unfortunately often happens is things like this happen, and then players go, I don't want that shit to happen to me. And then they make an adjustment. I remember doing some interviews around the time that it happened to Dion Phaneuf. And the Kevlar it was gaining mainstream status. Mm-hmm. And a lot of guys changed to it after that. So
also,
maybe you'll see a change.
NHL players prove time and time again that they kind of don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Where it's like, hey, we don't even want to wear visors, and that had to be grandfathered in. And even if some of us have to wear visors, we're going to wear it on the top of our skull and the back of our head, like we're Steve wearing a fitted cap in the early 2000s.
Maybe we shouldn't have made fun of Thomas Buchanan for a generation for protecting his neck.
Right?
Yeah, that turtleneck.
Neck guards aren't a thing people really wear past a certain age.
No.
You know, at the end of the day, I think they don't care about certain safety issues.
I think Kane will care.
Kane will care.
When he comes back, I bet he has it.
The Flames have lost 6 games in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. 4-2.
To the absolute wagon New Jersey Devils.
They got outshot to Timbuktu last night.
Well,
the shots were like
what was the score, Jesse?
But they pulled it out. It was unbelievable. They got hemmed in for a lot of it, and they had some great defense, some great goaltending, and I was surprised that they pulled out the victory.
Now, they're getting worse at the time they should be getting better.
Right.
Because there was a lot of turnover this offseason. It was actually pretty fun offseason, and the Flames were a big part of that. You expect them to struggle in October, and they were actually pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Now the season, it's going on, and they're starting to get into Leaf territory where you're not just losing games, you're looking bad while you do it. I don't know what the answer is here in Calgary. I don't, because there's a lot of parts that don't really seem to be fitting right now.
The Huberdeau injury is so interesting because he's had just not the best start to the season, and he's been slumping, and now he's out with an upper body injury. So I wonder if just the time
he started to pick it up, though.
I wonder if the time to sit and then regroup and then get back in the lineup is going to help his game. You know,
maybe. Maybe I don't.
Or if if he was starting to get it the last couple, and then this is gonna be a step back. I don't know. I'm interested to see. Adam's opinion on Jonathan Huberdeau is that he's the greatest player in the world.
I am not biased by that, although he was on the show and he was great.
You know what they need to right the ship? David Perron.
Maybe a little Marc-Andre Fleury sprinkle in there. Yeah. Backstrom is, speaking of gold, it's Backstrom. There's been some moments. There's days where he's great, and then there are days where I'm
Backlund?
No.
What are you talking about?
Sorry, Markstrom. Why did I say Backstrom? Markstrom.
I don't know.
Markstrom. There are days where I'm like, this guy's the best goalie in the league. And there are days like last night, I'm like, man, what do you do?
I said in the most recent Dang It's, I'm pretty sure he gave the puck away to Connor McDavid. And I'm like, you didn't learn shit from the spring, did you? Stay in your friggin' net.
Yeah.
When he's okay, you know how like all forwards are like, uh-oh, that big bruising defenseman's on the ice. I better cross my T's and dot my I's. He's just like, yeah, I don't really give a shit if the single most dangerous offensive player in a generation is out there. Dude.
I don't know.
Dude, open your eyes.
Why don't we do this? The press conference.
Leave. Oh.
The Presser. SDP. The Steve Dangle Press Conference.
To revisit Mitchell Miller momentarily, because Bettman did speak on it today. And Adam, this was to your point about Bill O'Daly. He addressed it directly.
Okay, great, good.
So here's an answer to what you were talking about. Bettman said in Winnipeg, "What goes through my mind probably isn't relevant or probably right for public consumption."
Correct.
Said Bettman, who was asked a follow-up question on the topic of Mitchell Miller, noting his position as the commissioner. Right. But some things I like to keep to myself. Bill has told them that when we heard that they decided to sign him, that he wouldn't be eligible to play currently or until he ultimately wouldn't be able to play in the NHL until we cleared him.
So they are acknowledging that the call on Wednesday took place.
That they talked to Bill.
Okay, so I don't understand how you can say that you weren't consulted then.
So,
is he not a member of your administration?
So, and then there's a follow-up as well.
Okay.
But I'll read that again. He starts with, right. But some things I like to keep to myself. Bill has told them that when we heard that they decided to sign him, that he wouldn't be eligible to play currently or until he ultimately wouldn't be able to play in the NHL until we cleared him.
So, when someone's making something up is when they go from the past to the present to the future tense in the same sentence. That happened in that statement. Bill has told them that when we talk, what? Read that first sentence again. One more time.
Bill has told them that when we heard that they decided to sign him, that he wouldn't be eligible to play currently or until he ultimately wouldn't be able to play in the NHL until we cleared him.
The crux. What is that?
The crux of the quote is he wouldn't be able to play in the NHL until we cleared him. Bill told them that. But he said it. He said it in the most roundabout way.
That is a bit of a stir fry of a quote.
You told us you weren't consulted. Next quote, Jesse. Okay.
He goes on. I think we've been clear. So I'll read the article here where they quote it exactly. Asked how the Miller situation might differ from that of Montreal Canadiens defenseman prospect Logan Mailloux, who is charged in Sweden for sending sexually explicit photos without the consent of his partner before the NHL draft, Daly provided a bit of a revelation. So this is, I think, new news. I think we've been clear with Logan Mailloux. He is not eligible to play in our league now either. So Montreal made a decision with respect to Logan. Boston made a decision with respect to Mitchell Miller. But neither player would be eligible without clearing with us at the time their ability and eligibility to play in the league, added Bettman. And both clubs were advised about that. That's new news.
I did not know
that Logan Mailloux can't play in the NHL.
Well, I'm sure that it's true now.
Yeah,
I'm sure that's true now. I don't think, like I told you before, I don't think that the NHL felt like they needed to say, "Hey, this guy can't play here," and yet now they have to.
I'm gonna keep going with this because they go on to explain this.
What's this from?
This is from. So they were in Winnipeg, Bettman and Daly talking to the media today. So they are just hemmed in with questions. Clubs are, in the first instance, free to sign eligible players in terms of age and what their status is from a contractual standpoint. Yeah, thanks, Bettman. You can sign humans.
Thank you.
Cool. We then, in the appropriate circumstance, have the right to decide who is eligible to play in the league. I think there's a little bit of a confusion between signing a contract and who is eligible to play in the league. It's totally different.
Oh.
I had no idea that the National Hockey League worked in a system where you can sign players, but you need a thumbs up from Bettman to get on the ice.
I don't believe that the PA knows that.
Is that how the NHL works?
It's not. And that's not how the legal process works. And I can tell you the PA is going to be like, what the fuck are you talking about? And if the PA had their shit together, and they don't, because they're in desperate need of a new leader, which they still have not found, which they said they were going to find this summer, and they did not.
No, they have not.
First off, the PA and the NHL are just too damn cozy at the moment. Second, the fact that that Bettman thinks that is the way that this can go. He obviously believes it, and it's probably true, but that is for sure. The PA is going to be like, since when?
I know people are going to like the end result of this because people don't want Logan Mailloux in the NHL.
And that's fair.
They don't want Mitchell Miller in the NHL, but this precedent sucks. Yeah, that precedent sucks.
So
man.
because in a terrible situation, and this may never happen.
What
but let's type. Here's what it would exist.
World War II happens.
No. That's not what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. No. What I'm saying is, let's say, player makes comment about Gary Bettman in the next labor dispute.
In theory,
the
NHL could just be like, you're not allowed to play in the NHL.
Right. And they've done it before. Look up Chris Campoli.
Mm-hmm.
Except he wasn't signed.
Right. So
he was just blackballed allegedly.
Yes. Allegedly. So, and I'm going to say allegedly on Chris Campoli as well.
Allegedly.
He wasn't signed.
Allegedly.
I just would say that is not a good precedent to set, because it essentially means that any dissent in the NHL means that you can't have your next contract verified until you grovel at NHL head office, and that's a problem.
And the difference,
but in this case, you have the NHL has grounds to say these two fucking guys can't play here, and here are the 80 million reasons why. Fair enough, but you got to have grounds and you got to have reasons.
The difference between Mailloux and Mitchell Miller is Mailloux's contract slides because he's still playing in junior right now. So as of right now, yes, he's under contract. No, he's not eligible, but also there's no money at stake.
Yeah,
because he's playing in the Ontario Hockey League. Mitchell Miller he's not junior eligible, and he was meant to be playing professional hockey according to the Boston Bruins. Again, I think this is going to end with them having to give Mitchell Miller money.
Yeah, of course.
And it should count on the cap. It should absolutely
but
count
it won't
on the cap.
because they're buddies. It won't.
I think Gary's pissed. I mean, these are two teams that are in the NHL's owner executive with the Habs and the Bruins, right? Jeff Molson and Jeremy Jacobs. And he's a grumpy bear with both of them right now. So I don't know how this ends, man. I don't know how this ends.
Thank you to Ken Weeb. Am I saying his last name?
Oh, yeah.
From Weeby, who put together this article about the words that Gary Bettman said today. I feel like there's a lot of explosive stuff in there saying that the commissioner has carte blanche to approve NHL players into the league. That's wild, and I had no idea.
Well, yeah, it's great.
All right.
Sounds new and made up.
Yeah. All right. Questions. Steve, can you remind everybody what's going on tonight at 7:30? If you're listening to this podcast before 7:30 p.m.
We are doing a stream on the SDPN YouTube channel. Will this podcast be up before then?
Yeah, I'm gonna try and get it up before. So
all right. Well, there you go. It'll be on the SDPN YouTube channel. All donations made to Easter Seals, to Rachel's Raiders, will be matched by is it the Schmidt Foundation or the Schmidt Family Foundation? Schmidt Family Foundation. So get in there, watch us play NHL 22 because we had some issues with 23.
We don't all have the same console, so we can't, but we all have the...
Yeah, I had to download the PS4 version of 22.
Yeah. It's Jesse and Mike, a.k.a. the Steve Punchers, taking on Adam Wild and I, the Moet Mustangs.
That's right. That's right.
Lego.
By the way, the logos that Jesse created for both of these are spectacular, but the Mustangs one you created in like an afternoon is way better than the Moet one we had.
I didn't create it. It's just kind of an image.
Oh,
man, you created that. That's so cool that you did that.
Image of grab.
You guys saw the Kirill Kaprizov cross-check to the face, right?
Yeah, no. I don't think he's going to get anything.
Yeah, he cross-checked Drew Doughty in the face and was kicked out of the game, I believe.
Yes, he was. He got 15 penalty minutes, and I know that because I got dinged on my fantasy
Doughty
team.
said, I can't lose any more teeth, so this is fine.
That's right, yeah. Player safety has weighed in. Guess the punishment.
Fine. $2,500.
Okay.
I'm going to say $2,501.
You can't do that.
All right, $5,000.
Yeah.
Hold on. So Matthew's got two games for a cross check that rode up the shoulder and is dangerous and should be suspended.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, but you see reasons.
High sticking history.
That's right.
High sticking history.
Lest you forget. Okay. Well, listen, maybe do we wrap it up there?
I was trying to look up the hit.
Producer
can I ask
Drew
a question?
is messaging me. He's very upset because of the salary cap. The Avalanche have to play with 17 skaters.
No, tell them you want the quadruple hard cap.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question for the press conference?
Yeah, sure.
This is from Clearly a Bot on our Discord. Join our Discord at stvn.ca. What is the weirdest things you've ever been asked to do by a fan? Could be over Cameo or in person. Ever been asked to do something weird, like a weird picture or a weird autograph?
Yeah. I've been asked to autograph someone and they would get it tattooed. Actually, I think we all did.
Yes.
We signed someone and then they turned that into a tattoo. So that was pretty cool. Hey, Chelsea. Hope you don't regret it. And one time I was at the grocery store and for some reason I was with my mom and someone goes, "Oh!" And she was holding a toddler and she goes, "Oh, my husband loves you." And I go, "Oh, thank you very much." She goes, "You got to take a picture." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I thought she meant with her. And then she just handed me her son.
Oh, I love that.
Just like, so I took a picture with someone's
baby. That's cool. And you held their kid.
We were both very confused.
Yeah. both drooling, I think.
Both men involved were just like, what's happening here right now?
I'm trying to think, and I have a terrible memory. But I can remember like when I was like a pop music DJ when that mattered. Yeah. In like a kit like Kiss 92.5, we would get like crazy weird requests and stuff like that. You know, like not even kids. Like, you know, kids are like innocent and sweet and they're like, "Hey, can you like autograph my beach ball that you guys gave out today," or whatever, which is cool. But I remember like there were parents who would be like, one parent was something along the lines of like that I was sending her an encouraging video about that her daughter would get a date to prom or something. And I was like, I don't know what's happening. I guess her daughter was feeling down about it.
Oh,
and I was like, and I'm like, and I did it because I didn't want to say no because you're like thrilled that anybody even gives a shit about you and I just tried to just keep it positive, but I remember being really uncomfortable in that. But everybody else has been pretty respectful. Like I can't think of anything bad.
I've been asked for pictures of my feet.
Oh yeah,
a bunch of times. Oh, everyone wants to see your feet.
As a bit, or they actually are into that?
No, they meant it. Adam, don't you look.
Adam joined Feet People. You created the Feet People on our live stream in Montreal.
You were Jeepers, Adam, put those grippers away.
Only Feet. That's my new website, Only Feet.
Onlyfeet.com.
TikTok has ruined me.
All right.
Are we all done? We wrapping it up?
Yeah, last thing. I listened to a fantasy football podcast, and they do a lot of fun trivia, and I want to bring one of their questions to this show. This is how we'll end the show. What is the official definition of a moment in time? A moment in time has been declared an official amount of time. Mm-hmm. How long do you think it is? Closest to, without going over, wins our trivia for the day. And you get to eat the leftover Halloween candy.
I don't want it anyway.
Good. Well, lose. Lose the trivia.
I will.
What's your guess?
4 minutes.
4 minutes? What's your guess, Adam?
I'm going to say just an even 5.
5 minutes?
Yeah, why not?
The official definition of a moment in time is 90 seconds.
Oh!
I was more right.
You were.
Steve was more right. Steve wins!
Dumbass!
Wow, my bad. Hey, we'll be back tomorrow with a show. Yay!
The Steve Dangle Podcast.
Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada's Sportsbook.
Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake.